Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
John
Jared's
Esterly.
not here, but who is?
John Esterly, Rare Buzz Effects.
All right, John Esterly is joining us. Hey, this is everybody. This is not everybody. This is Todd. This is me. This is Todd from the Guitar Knobs, which you are listening to. We've had a technical day so far. Everybody, welcome. We're so thrilled that you are listening to our show, and we're glad to be putting it on for you. We're going to have a real good one, I promise. We've got somebody from the southern area of our country, specifically who and
Texas.
where?
This is Eric from Frost Electronics, down in Texas, South Texas.
There we go. South Texas. Down there by Hank. And who's that?
He wishes. No, I'm actually about 2 hours from Mexico. I'm out in Corpus Christi.
Oh, right on. Well, welcome to the show, Eric from Frost Giant Electronics. You have been highly requested on the show, so you better own up to it.
That's not going to happen at all.
Hey, everybody, we're gonna have a really good time tonight. So, Tony Baloney, what do we do on the show?
Well, we like to talk about gear. Specifically, we like to talk about boutique gear. Even more specifically, we like to talk to the builders and the movers and the shakers in the boutique gear industry. And that would include things like, guitars, maybe, amps, pedals, accessories, all the good stuff.
All the things. Yeah. And if Jared was here, he's on a much needed vacation. So he would say that he likes the one-on-ones that we do. And we've got a couple good ones coming up for you. So be on the lookout for those. Gentlemen, we're going to do a couple of real quick announcements here. Number one, we want to say big fat thanks to Rode Mics for providing the Rodecaster Pro that we are recording on and the Procaster mics, which we have been using faithfully for a long time now, and we just absolutely love it, especially because Rode provides us some updates constantly. Not constantly, like it's always broken, constantly because it's always being made better. Just even on this call right now. So one thing that longtime listeners may be wondering audio-wise what's going on a little bit lately. Let me explain something to you. Typically, we have each of our mics are going into their own channels when we're in the studio. But because now we're all at home and we all have to do this over the internet, my mic is going into one channel and everybody else's is jammed into one other channel through the internet. And what they were smart enough to do is say, hey, each of those channels that are coming in through the internet, you can adjust your levels on the internet and we will read them through the Rodecaster Pro so that you can actually adjust it before it even hits the board, which is awesome. So mic levels and stuff over the last several episodes, we've done the very best we can to get them as good as we can and make sure the sound quality. But since everybody's on the internet, like 1,000,000% of the time, we're doing the best we can. We hope you understand that, and we appreciate your patience. So, and forgiveness. All right. So we also, this is a big one. We got another Tony Baloney. We've got another Grand Poobah, baby.
I saw that. I'm going to have
right.
I need the information.
Christopher Marshall
I saw that.
is the man. He's the new Grand Poobah. And what is a Grand Poobah, you may ask? Well, Tony's going to tell you at the end, but I'll tell you much quicker right now. Grand Poobah is the Excelsior level of the executive producers. These are the people that are above and beyond the executive producer level. And there's a handful of them. And one of the special things they get, aside from many others, is a fez.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to signify the grand poobahs. So, anyways, welcome to Christopher Marshall, and thank you so much for choosing to support our show in such a big way. Gentlemen, we're going to get on to what's going on in our music world this week. Tony, you're going to kick us off, and then we'll jump over and talk to Eric real quick, okay?
All right, sounds good. That sounds good. So, actually, this happened today.
Awesome. Eric, how about you? No.
That sounds great. I enjoyed that whole story. We don't need to go further. That was perfect.
Okay, Tony, go ahead. All right, he's punishing me now.
So this actually happened today. Some friends of mine, you might have heard of them. It's a local band called Watershed. They actually were a national band in the 90s. But they are, they've been on and off a little bit. They're doing a Zoom video, and they were trying to conjure up the spirit of like an old Smithereens video from the 80s and 90s. And Colin, the guitar player and singer, needed a Rickenbacker to play. So through a friend of a friend of a friend, we worked it out. So Colin will be using one of my John Lennon style Rickenbackers. So it has the same kind of the look and feel of the Smithereens kind of thing. So I'm kind of excited about that and anxious to see what their new song and new video is going to be all about.
Well, that's really cool.
Yes.
Your guitar is going to be famous.
It's going to be more famous than me.
Yep. Eric, how about yourself? What's going on, bud?
With me, building, getting ready. We just got the band ourselves. We just had that mastered over at Buddy Zach at God City. I am constantly building pedals, so just random fun stuff constantly.
Now your band is what's it called?
Switchblade Jesus.
Okay, and it's like bluegrass.
Yeah, it's bluegrass death metal for the most part.
Nice.
It's its own thing. It's man, I this is always the worst question to ask a musician. It's like if Sabbath and High on Fire got together and had a baby.
Okay,
and that's pretty much my early thrash with doom, a lot of heavy doom tunings and slow sustains, and a lot of times the album and the first split is on Ripple Music right now. Really? Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Ripple. I'm not. I'm admittedly not super heavy into that scene, but I'm a fan of Todd, who runs Ripple, and I've actually had a couple conversations with him. Just like he really adds a lot to the burgeoning community of bands that are trying to make themselves something. He's got a lot of great advice. So check them out on Instagram, because he does these little, hey everybody, it's Todd. And he says some word of wisdom, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's totally helping me out with my band. Thank you so much.
But them, and then a lot of the PR and a lot of the buddies they have, another guy named Matt, they really push and grind the underground scene constantly.
Yeah.
And I have to thank them a lot.
I really wish that there was a record company like them, and I shouldn't say record company, a label more maybe appropriately, like Ripple for other types of music, like the one that I'm in.
He's actually started making a couple of sub labels to accommodate different styles.
I gotta get a hold of him then, because
I think he's got two different ones. Like I know he wanted to do some kind of psychedelic surf rock, and then like garage bands and all that, and then I think he's got a heavier one too.
There's a heavier one. Oh my.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
So wait. Are we talking about a label or that fine American wine?
Well, it depends on what time of night it is and how drunk we are. I mean, there's a lot of things we could talk about with that. But the label for this time.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Cool. All right. Well, that's good stuff going on. Mr. Esterly, how about yourself?
Well, I a few weeks back, got a new guitar. So I have been spending some time with that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, over the course of 2 months, I've gotten 2 new guitars from the same company. And I got a bass and then a T style it's got a humbucker in the neck position and then just your standard Telecaster pickup in the bridge position.
Uh-huh.
But the latter,
the Hello Kitty, are you going to share it with us? What's going on?
Well, it's a company called Glary, and they are a Chinese importer. They are here in the States, but the guitars are Chinese built. And they're kind of known for being better quality than the money that you pay. But I would say about every fourth one you need to send back. Well, I've been fortunate that the 2 that I've gotten have both been decent.
Huh.
But I've been spending a lot of time the last week with the guitar, not the bass, and just really enjoying that neck humbucker. I mean, obviously, it's not a brand name pickup. It's just whatever they got off the shelf, but it's got a real nice sound to it. I've been kind of playing through some of the pedals that I've got kicking around in upcoming designs just to hear what it sounds like through that. So yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Sounds good. As for me,
How about you, Todd?
Well, clever girl. All right. That's a Jurassic Park reference, in case anybody didn't get that one. Anyways, so I decided that I wanted to try out a coily cable. It's been one that I've thought about for a while because I'm in a closer area in my basement now. So having my big long like stage cable is kind of not the most fun because it just gets wound up. And this particular one, it's a GLS. Okay, so wait. First, I got the lava cable because I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to get the lava cable, which is like $70.
Yeah.
I got it, and I thought that I got a straight with a right angle, and I ended up with 2 straights, and I was like, well, this is useless. I'm not going to use this because I do the through the strap into the into the jack. So I sent it back, and then I said, well, now that I've spent that money and got it back, I'm going to see if I can find something a little bit more affordable. And this is also going to be an interesting test. The lava cable was really heavy, and it was thick, like you mentioned, Tony. So I ended up getting a GLS. It's a 30-foot, which in coily cable means about 15, 5 or less. I think I paid like maybe $20 for it or $25 or something like that. And I got it and I was like, this is pretty nice. This is working really well. It's not coiling up on itself or anything like that. I can walk about almost 15 feet back before it like starts pulling. And then I thought, well, I wonder, I noticed that Fender had just come out with their own coily cable, not the Jimi Hendrix one, but their own. It was like it's a fabric wrap one. So that was like $45, and I was like, well, okay. So I've got a 70, I've got like a 25 and 30, and then I'm trying out a 45. Well, the Fender one showed up, and I don't know I just don't understand this. The coils, the diameter of the coil is probably, or I would say, let's see. Yeah, it's about the size of how do I want to say? It's like an 1.5 inches wide. And I'm like, what the?
Wow.
Who wants this? The coils are huge. And it doesn't stretch any farther. So I'm like, why on earth is this a good thing? Like, who wants this dangling off the guitar? I truly don't know if it is a fashion thing. Sometimes, Fender has been, they've been known to chase that. Like, this is a good idea. But practicality-wise, it doesn't make any sense to me. Mm-hmm. It's just way too big. Now, I know that there's another brand out there that makes like this really wide, thick cable, thick coil on purpose. I think they've deliberately said, well, we're going to do them, but it's going to be kind of a ridiculously sized coil. But for Fender to do that, I was just really surprised. And pretty disappointed actually. So it unwound less, so I had less distance on it. It was heavier and incredibly bulky. So I don't know what the point of that is, but
I'm going to date myself. But back in the day, there was a company called Whirlwind that made half coil, half straight cable that I used. That was what I used to use when I played live. So you had about, I don't know, maybe 10 feet of straight, and then a coil that was, I would expand out to about another 10 feet. So all in all, it was about 20 feet. Yeah. I don't even know if Whirlwind is still in business or not, but
I did a pretty heavy search for coil cables, and I came up with just about nothing, just like these couple of brands. So I haven't seen them. But you bring up a good point, because one of the things that I love about the current cable that I had, the Rattlesnake cable, was that it's shout out to Hank from Rattlesnake. They sell something called a snakehead, and essentially so the Rattlesnake cables have this mesh like sheath around the entire cable, so like you can step on them, you can drive over them, it's not gonna do anything to them, which is great if you're gigging a lot. But it stops about a foot away from the end, so that you can wrap your cable up from your strap, put it back in. With the coil cable that I got, this is another thing. I'm like, okay, I don't know. I doubt that musicians are actually designing these. I really do. Because all you have to do is say, well, what do most guitar players do? They put it up through the back over the strap and secure it into the input jack, because that keeps it from ripping out or tripping on it. Well, the minute you try to do that with one of the coil cables, unless you have a foot lead, it's going to get jammed up in the strap.
Yep.
So coil cable makers out there, think about that, okay? Because now what I got to do is I got to go to my garage. I got to clamp these things down, heat it up and straighten it out, and then heat it up with a hairdryer so it'll try to straighten out a little bit, so I can get an extra lead, so I'm not putting coil through the back of the strap. So anyways, my 5 minutes are up.
Whirlwind is still in business.
Is it really?
But they don't have the half coil, half straight cable.
Well, there's an opportunity for somebody. Go make a good one, for Pete's sakes.
Just have about a 4-inch lead, 4-inch straight lead off of it, or what?
No, you need like about a foot, about a good foot, because coming up from the back of the strap, or the strap block, and then down, and regardless of what kind of guitar, you're either going to go into the front or you're going to go into the profile, the side of the guitar, and either way, having that extra lead, you're not.
So it doesn't look like an air hose trying to wrap around your guitar.
Yeah,
trying to pull you down.
It's so dumb. So I don't know. This seems like super common sense to me, but whatever. All right. Anyways, let's do some of this.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
Eric Calvert from Frost Giant Electronics. What is your 4 on the floor?
I'd have to say my number one will always be the Rat. The Rat pedal. I love that pedal so much. It's everything to me.
What version of the Rat do you have?
Well, man, I've had so many different Rats. I mean, I could write a novel on them. Honestly, I'd have to say my '90s Rat 2. Okay. It's right when the LED got put in, and I mean, up to 2001 is when they still kept the LM308. I have funny issues with that whole Mojo situation, but the Rat 2, the '90s version, will always be my favorite. It's got a lot more cut and buzz. It's more of an actual distortion feel and tube amp feel pedal, opposed to the early 80s and the large boxes and stuff like that.
Right. Cool. Okay. That's solid. Rats, Rats, I think they might actually be starting to eclipse the Tube Screamer in our 4 on the floor. That's what I've been noticing. So
it's a perfect pedal to me. I mean, you can put it in front of a Marshall, you can put it on a clean amp, and it's everything.
Yeah, for sure. Our friend Eric Camaro just did a really nice little shootout, a rat clone shootout. Check out that video over on YouTube, Eric Camaro.
He's actually got the mountain in that. He's got one of my pedals in that.
That's correct.
And then he's doing a demo of it coming up soon. So
Awesome.
That should be fun.
That's very cool. Very cool. What's number 2?
Number 2, I'd have to say would be the Mr. Black Supermoon Chrome. That thing. Yeah, that thing. I mean, I've used a lot of different reverbs and delays and all that kind of stuff. But the first time I got into the trails and everything, what is it called on this one? The sway. Oh my God, that sway was amazing. So that was an eye opening of reverb and that type of modulation for me. I really enjoyed that pedal.
Awesome. Yeah, Mr. Black's made it on a few times with the Supermoon. So that's another one. All right. You got 2 good ones so far. What's number 3?
I'd have to say the Dunwich DA120. It's a overdrive by my buddy Nick over at Dunwich. He did a couple of different versions of them, and I got this purple and white custom one. And this dude just does amazing stuff. Like he's a mad genius. I love his stuff. I love everything that he makes. And this is like perfect amp in a box. So if you want to throw it on like in the studio, or you just want to put it in a send return, I think it's just beastly. Love that pedal.
Awesome. And how about number 4?
I'd have to say the number 4 is probably my Perfect 10, my T-Swath. It is a real old school kind of build. The travel on it has a real phaser-like kind of pull to it. And so when I've thrown a couple of different pedals, unbuffered or buffered, you'll have that issue on some of the older builds like tone benders and fuzz bases. And this thing just holds them all well. I mean, this thing just holds up like a champ. I've busted about 3 or 4 different wahs.
Wow.
Switches, and just playing live. I'm real reckless. I'm kind of real hard on my gear. Mm-hmm. So when I picked this thing up, I needed something that was a lot more sturdy. And this thing's been just holding its own for years.
Now, do you put your wah in front or the beginning of the chain or the end of the chain?
Front.
Okay.
I always put it in the front, because I'm not trying to change the curve of my distortion pedals. I'm trying to change that curve before it hits it.
Gotcha. All right, man. Well, that's pretty solid. Very good ones. Well done. You get a star.
Yay!
So, hey, we want to say a big old shout out to John Fiddle, recording engineer extraordinaire, producer, and guitar man himself.
And all around nice guy.
Nice guy. He's a sweetheart and a gentleman. But most importantly, he really understands guitar tone. And if you are in need of some recording action and or just want to get a great opinion on like, hey, how can you handle this? John is a great resource to go to. His studio is located in Columbus here, but he does travel all over the country recording at different areas. So we just want to give a shout out to him, johnfintel.com, JONFINTEL, and he's at Relay Recording. He just did our album, The Valentinos, and I could not be more thrilled with the guitar tone that he got for me. And by that, I mean that he got me the one that I wanted, not the one that he wanted. I think that's important to note, because if you listen to all the albums that he's recorded, they all sound different, but they sound amazing for each of their own bands. And I think that's really important. He helped me find my studio voice with the guitar, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Thanks, big man. All right, let's talk to Eric Calvert from Frost Giant Electronics, maker of some pretty impressive fuzzes and other types of things, not just fuzz. It does say fuzz worship, so he does honor the fuzz church, but he makes some really useful other pedals too. I have one in front of me called the Yama. So we'll get into that in a second. But are you in fact actually 7'2"?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am actually. By law, I'm supposed to put 12.5, but we're just going to go 7.2.
Okay. He does look like a giant. Like if you think, what does a giant look like? I mean, you know.
It is, yeah. No, I'm like 6'4" or something like that. So I'm kind of tiny. Like because I'm an artist for Laney Amps, and when I go to NAMM, I get to meet all the guys from Europe, and geez Louise, man, I look like a troll. Man, I look like a troll. I look like I'm a side cast for one of the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
It's just hair and gristle and snot everywhere.
Hey man, there's a future in that. Be an extra for Pete's sakes. You know? I don't think Hodor got his chops from Shakespeare, you know. He did. So, anyways, I went total tangent, whatever. No, but you also have quite a bit of hair on your face and then your head. It's cascading everywhere. In fact, is this actually? This might be you on the front of the Yama. Is it?
It's not, but it's slowly taken on its form because since the band is also Switchblade Jesus, people ask me like, so are you Jesus in the band? Like, well, no, but no, thank you though.
Yeah. Well, so Eric, how did you, I think the best place to start is what was the trigger that got you into music?
Oh man, it was my dad. For the most part, I always grew up listening. He listened to, how old am I? I am 37, I think. And so, I grew up with a lot of early Slayer and Judas Priest and Pantera, in the 90s and so forth. And so he always, went to shows and had music and guitars. And, the first thing I learned was, I think it was Iron Man. I know it was Sabbath, so I'm pretty positive it was Iron Man. And we used to just, he actually raced MotoGP. So we used to go in the garage and strip down his bikes. And then when he started getting a guitar, we started stripping and repainting his guitars. So it was always music and taking stuff apart. I mean, that's just real. It's always been from, since day one.
Yeah. Is your dad still around?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for the most part.
I don't mean, did he run off RUN and OFT on the air or nothing? But
no, he actually, I gave him one of the amps I used to tour with back when we started out. I had a Randall solid state. It was, what was an RH1 or RH250. And the other guy, he needed an amp, so I let him borrow that. My dad he bought this crank amp, and he's like, it's too loud for me, so I took it on tour. And then I gave it back to him actually for Father's Day. I was like, here you go. And then appreciate it. Happy Father's Day, bro. And so
thank you for telling us a little bit of the background of where you came in on. Now, how does one go from playing and touring and everything to saying, I need to exercise my right to make pedals?
Well, what really happened was as a musician, it's the most lucrative career in the world. And, the money just falls upon your lap. So I was going, how am I going to eat food with all this money? You can't just eat it. But what really happened was we needed to pay rent and get groceries. So I started on one of the Facebook groups. It's called First Church of Amplifier Worship. In the beginning, it started as just this huge group of people that just love, 200-watt amps that push, 3 full stacks, just most ungodly thing ever. And so we started making shirts, and I started making bootleg shirts, and then a couple people asked for things, and so went back and forth making shirts. I really didn't sell that many, but just enough to pay the bills. And I at one of the shows, one of my Rats my rat, my one that I had since the 90s, it died out on me. So went on eBay, ordered another 90s one, and when it came in, I noticed both of mine sounded different. So that's when I started really getting interested in what was going on. Found another one on eBay that was broken, ordered that, fixed it, noticed it sounded a little bit different, but this had a little bit more characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
So what really happened was, me breaking stuff and, my dad telling me, pretty much fix it, learn how to fix it. And I started noticing that all the different ones just sounded different, or all the other ones I was getting. So I ordered, I wanted to build my own just for my own self. And I ordered from Mammoth some cases, and they sent me the wrong drill pattern. So I was like, hey guys, you sent me the wrong one. And Mammoth's like, okay, no problem, we'll send you another one. Well, they sent another one, wrong one again. After 5 cases, I had enough to build my pedal plus, some other random ones. Mm-hmm. So I built a couple of mountains and put them on Facebook, and they sold. Just kind of took off from there, honestly. And then I wanted a Slowmatics. I love them to death. And then
just really quick, Eric, why did you call it the Mountain? So that is your essentially your rat, your version of a rat.
Because in our split, I used the prototype for the song "Heavy as the Mountain."
Oh, okay.
And that's where that came in.
Cool.
Yeah, so I used the prototype for that last track just to see how it recorded. It recorded good. I liked it, and so it became the Mountain because of that track right there. And then I wanted a Slowmatics kind of big fuzz bass and meathead type of sound. But the ones that I found, they were great, but they just didn't have the mids that I preferred. Mm-hmm. So I breadboarded and I put those up on reverb. Those sold. A couple of buddies asked for some more. I made one for our bassist. Bassist really started enjoying it because they heard his tone. It just kind of snowballed from that.
All right. So out of necessity comes a lot of stuff. So that sounds like you just started going like, hey, if I at bare minimum just do what I need, maybe this can go somewhere.
Yeah, it really wasn't me trying to start a pedal business. It was me just trying to get the tones I wanted because I couldn't afford the pedals. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
When you're a musician getting thousands and thousands of dollars every day, playing at your local bars, you can't really afford some of the high end gear. And a lot of the it's weird because my high end gear is not the same as other people's. My high end gear is like, super benders and, old fuzz basses and buzz arounds and, all those vintage color sound. And, that's what I love. But those things are like $500.
Yeah.
Like I can buy an amp for that.
Yeah.
In some cases. Yeah. So instead of trying to buy them, I would just study the schematics and, throw a breadboard or throw it on a Vero and then socket stuff and just change it to my liking. And then once I found a tone I like, that's where I went from, because I really don't have tons of electronic, like a lot of these guys are really, really big electrical engineers. Mm-hmm. And I love what they do. And I it's just amazing. But, I of course know the basics, but I go by ear. I go by changing stuff up and listening to it, giving it to our bassist and having him run through it.
Right.
Feedback, so forth. And it seems to work for me.
Now, did you find that there's any difference in how you're approaching it from, for lack of better terms, more doomy or heavier stuff, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to adjust to accommodate that?
Yeah. I mean, you have to, the amount of bass, treble, and all that kind of stuff that goes into the build and, how you have your bias set, type of transit. I mean, a lot of that factor comes into it because a lot of these guys play on the neck and, their tone's already thick and muddy. So you have to compensate for that and make it a little bit more sharper of a drive, or give them the option where they can make it sharper with a focus knob or,
right.
Or a high cut or bass cut, whatever, to get him in those fields. That's why the Mountain has 3 silicon settings or 3 diode settings and distortion and overdrive.
Right.
Because, some guys really want that big, big open sound. So you put it on the last one, but some dudes like me prefer more cut, more of a distortion. So we put it on the first and have it more aggressive.
Right.
So you do have to adjust that. And a lot of things too is you can't use cheap parts because these guys, they're running 15 pedals with the worst patch cables ever going into a one spot, pushing 3 Ampeg V4s. If you're using, cheap components, you're going to hear noise, buzz. That sometimes you can't get rid of the Mexican radio, but when it comes in so heavy with those cheap parts, it's just ridiculous. So I mean, you really have to sit and decide on what they're going to be used for from what my standpoint has been.
Gotcha. Well, you sent us along the Yama, which is called a Tone Explorer.
Yes.
It's got a really cool graphic of a bearded, scully type dude surrounded by magi and philosophers. It's one of those super old woodcut kind of deals. It's pretty cool. I asked you to send us this one because I know that you obviously make some pretty awesome fuzz and a lot of heavier stuff. And this sounded like it could be useful for me, also based on the description, which was like, hey, if you're looking to find or help refine your tone after your signal chain, then this could be helpful. It sounded to me almost like this is like, this could be kind of like an EP boost a little bit.
No, it's actually fun facts. It's an acoustic preamp.
Well, yeah, that's what it says on the thing, pretty much too.
I think Todd, I think you meant that by saying that you meant it's nothing like an EP boost.
That's what I do on this show.
So the thing about the Yama is that's actually a build with my buddy from Gremlin Audio Devices. We went back and forth talking about different preamps and boosts, and there's this certain preamp that everybody loves in the Doom community. And so we started going through different designs, and he went with this, and I was like, yeah, pretty much, it's one of the ones that I love. He took it apart. I took mine apart. He redesigned his a certain way, and I redesigned mine a certain way. And it's just, I don't know. I love this build. It's really great for me to put at the end of a chain because I use it to really, really put heft back into your guitar signal.
Okay. Well, let me explain myself here, guys. All of you naysayers, Tony Baloney.
That's me.
Yeah. So based on what you said just now, and based on what it says on your website, which is what caught my interest, I run an EP boost after my drive chain. Okay. And I do that to give it the thing that the EP does is like this, a sparkle and a little bit more, heft, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I put the Yama after all of that. So it would technically come after the EP, and I toggled them back and forth, and they were doing almost the same thing, except this I found I had more control over how much, sparkle I wanted on it via the tone knob. And that's one thing that the EP doesn't do. And the more I listened to it, the more I was thinking like this EP is kind of like it's almost like rolling the tone off too much. It's like a little on the muddy side. Like if I'm trying to get some articulation on my E string, right? Like if I'm digging into it, I don't want it to go like, This helped maintain that articulation on the low strings and kept the sparkle on where I wanted it. I could, obviously change that because that's what the tone knob is for. So it was really interesting because it was doing what I wanted it to do, even though I don't necessarily know that it was designed to do that, but it was going toe to toe with the EP boost, and in many cases, I felt that it was winning out.
Oh, nice, thank you.
So
Yeah, that's why I always when people ask about it, that's why I tell them to put the Yama at the end of the chain and Yomi, which is the treble booster in a way, at the front of the chain, because the Yama is really going to shape everything that comes after that and really give you that sparkle and heft.
yeah,
That you're trying to get back. Because when you start putting a bunch of digital and analog pedals on the same board, you're going to lose that signal near the end of it.
yeah. Well, and the other thing that I don't know if I figured this out or anything, but it occurred to me is that what I felt like I was losing with some of the overdrive that I was running, it was like it felt a little bit more open and a little bit more raw, not overly controlled or round or like smoothed out too much or like almost compressed sounding. And that's what the EP boost started to give me a little bit of that. It started to kind of take away some of that rippy-teary kind of stuff that you can't really manufacture. That was just a product of going through like a stacked overdrive. And but then when I hit this, it was maintaining it. So I was really happy with the result of that. So Tony.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Anyways,
well, because I should have figured because you are using the EP booster incorrectly, anyhow.
That's because it didn't sound good it didn't sound as good in front. It's I'm just saying, man.
What amp are you using?
I'm using Supro Black Magic.
Oh, wow, that thing should sound amazing up front then. Wow, that's weird.
Well, it's not that it didn't sound good. It just sounded, I felt like it sounded better after my drives. Because I've got a small sound, big sound FUCK drive. And then I've got a Greer Moonshot. And I've tried that in front and in back of and then after that I had that EP boost, and it still sounds good, don't get me wrong, but this was doing a little something different. I was like, ooh, hey, now what's this?
No, I'm glad you liked it. I'm really glad you liked it.
Yes. So Tony's going to get this right after me. I just haven't had a chance to see him yet, unfortunately. But anyhow, so that's the Yama, everybody. And I know this isn't the Yama show, but this is the one that's in front of me. And I thought that this was really intriguing coming, especially, I think when we're talking to Frost Giant, it's going to be like, oh, great. They're going to talk about fuzzes the entire time, which, hey, everybody likes a good fuzz. But I thought this was like something maybe people weren't expecting.
No, not at all, especially at NAMM. I had the board set up, and the way I would run it is, listen to this pedal, then listen to this pedal with the Yama. Like, whoa. I'm like, yeah. Okay, yeah. Listen to this pedal. Now listen to this pedal with the Yama. Whoa, what's the Yama? And then we would go into details about it.
Yeah, very nice.
It's a fun pedal. It really is. I have to say that one stays on my board on. Doesn't turn off.
Yeah.
I leave it on 20%. I'm probably going to build mine, like remove the foot switch and just put an on and off switch on it, just for my own personal.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, honestly, that's not too bad. Keep going with those good ideas you have. I approve of them. That's fine. So I think John Esterly over there, Johnny boy,
yes.
How you doing over there?
I'm fine.
That's great.
Lots of logging in and out.
Yeah. For those who haven't figured it out, we've been having one awesome time fighting the internet tonight.
Lots of logging in and out.
Yeah.
So much.
So every time you hear like a little like Pied Piper, like that's somebody dipping in or out, uncontrollably. So
I just picture like a Power Ranger just kind of doing the hands, just popping right in.
Yeah.
So Eric, I think the artwork on your pedals is really great. Is that something that you came up with yourself, or do you have a resident artist?
I have a couple of buddies that have done some pedals with me. Most of the artwork that is on it I've done. Some of the older stuff, I don't know if I still have them out, but you can actually go and pull old lithograph type of carvings. That's what's similar to the Yama one.
Oh yeah.
And so I had Jean from Shroud Eater. She's making my bass mountain, and she came out with that one. And then I have another buddy out in Europe, and she does my Ratfink ones. I do a lot of art myself, but honestly, I just don't have time to sit and draw like I used to. I have way too many pedals. I have to keep going and just not stop. So luckily, I found a nice little niche in a type of art layout. It seems to be working for me. I really love the theme. It goes with the fuzz worship. Mm-hmm. This town, Corpus Christi, is huge Catholic, so I have a lot of Catholic that was raised in me, and seeing a lot of these churches and different situations really instilled it.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's all public domain, so ta-da!
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, and so I had the Four Horsemen Massive, and that one's public domain because it was carved in 1400s, and a buddy of mine, customer, asked it for his pedal, and people started tagging me like, "Hey, they're using your artwork." I'm like, "Nah, I'm using somebody else's artwork for this one. This guy, this is he's fine, he's great, he's awesome." Yeah, so I'm like, relax, guys. Nobody's stealing from anybody. Everything's great, I promise. And actually, that guy is Tony Peppers out of New Zealand, and I got to give a shout to him because great.
He's been referenced on the show before.
Yeah, he's helped me with a couple of board layouts. He knows how to do what's called paneling, and you can put so many boards on one panel. So when you order it, you get a big sheet of them and you just kind of break them like a cracker. Mm-hmm. And it just saves on money and stuff like that. So he's been really helpful on that one. So I just need to throw that out.
John, have you toyed around with that kind of board? When we're talking about boards, everybody, we're talking about PCB boards. So that's the board inside the pedal, in case you don't know, which is cool. John, have you messed around with that type of PCB?
I have done a little bit. Now, the board house that I use typically, they figure out that you're trying to get more boards than you should, and they'll charge you anyway. So I usually just let them do it, because if they're going to charge me for it anyway, I'm not going to spend my time. But yeah, some of the other houses you can basically run 50 of the same thing into a little footprint, and then just order one of those instead of 50, and you end up with getting a lot for a little.
Right. But then you got to do all the cutting and all that business, right?
Well, I mean, like Eric said, you just kind of pop them apart like a cracker. I mean, it just they're usually either there's like a V groove in it, or there's they call them mouse bites, but little dotted lines that you just snap it right on the edge, and it comes apart.
Interesting. Oh, I learned a little something new there. I like that. That's good. Well, Eric, do you have anything that's looming? I know that a lot of people were preparing the year for NAMM coming up, so there's a lot of builds and stuff that people are having. Do you have anything in the works there?
I have the bass mountain, which is my mountain with a MOSFET and LED clipping and a blend knob with a gain shape to kind of help with the clicks, when you go into a bass. Mm-hmm. I have a overdrive coming out with Klon D9E diodes, but it's not a Klon bass. It's just used those fancy diodes. Let's see, what else do I have?
That sounds like a pretty cool. So would that be like a low gain overdrive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna switchable bass. It's gonna have attack adjustment to go and coincide with the gain. So you can really, if you need more sizzle out of it, you can kind of push it. But I mean, just to keep it that kind of low grind, just kind of pull it back.
Yeah.
And two others that I have coming out, but I don't even really want to talk about this yet because they're just, the boards are here, but they haven't even done a prototype phase yet.
Sure.
I got way too much stuff that I need to calm down with, honestly.
Oh man. Well, that sounds awesome. That overdrive sound. Do you know what you're going to call the overdrive?
Not yet. I prototype's done. It sounds great. I'm happy with it. I have one boxed up. I wanted to take it on the road, but can't really take it on the road right now. And so I'm going to run it through my bassist and have him do it, because a lot of bassists use my pedals. So I just want to make sure that everybody's has a chance, if it, how it sounds different. I can tell people where it's good or if it doesn't. And so hopefully I'll have that one ready by Halloween. That's what I'm going for.
Cool.
So, yeah, I need to get the bass mountain out first.
Right on. All right, Eric, thank you so much for sharing all about your pedal thing that you do, your company, your fuzz worshipping Frost Giant Electronics pedals. We are going to dip in a little thing called Would You Rather. Tony, would you care to...
in memory of Jared,
who's still very much alive.
Do I need to burn a candle?
Yes, let's burn some candles, maybe a little incense.
Yeah.
Would you rather? Okay, this week's Would You Rather.
Sound like Marmaduke. Jeez. Okay, do it to it.
Todd, you're gonna love this one.
Good.
I know you're gonna love it.
I'm gonna hate it.
No, you're gonna love it.
Okay.
So this week's Would You Rather, many of you may have heard that the Kurt Cobain 59 Martin D18E broke the all-time record for a celebrity-owned and played guitar at auction.
Mm-hmm. I know who bought it.
Yes, that's why it comes full circle. So it's just sold for a shade over $6 million.
It's ridiculous.
Is that where Jared is?
Yeah, Jared is going to pick it up right now.
Yeah.
He's hoped that there would be two of them.
Yeah, that's his MO.
So anyhow, for those who may or may not know, Kurt Cobain was in a band called Nirvana. There was a series on MTV back when they used to have music programming called MTV Live, and Nirvana played some acoustic versions of things, some cover tunes. And so this guitar, it was Martin's take on installing a pickup into an acoustic guitar. So obviously Kurt was a lefty, so it made it even a little more rare. So Todd, do you want to announce who the proud owner of this guitar is now?
Yes. So Peter Freeman, the founder of Rode Mics, actually bought it.
Rode.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, he's a pretty young dude too. I mean, not like 20 or anything like that, but he's not like, some old guy, Yeah, he bought it. How about that?
That's pretty spectacular. So
yeah.
Hopefully he does some good with that. I think he'd already announced some of the things that he's going to do. So we'll keep our eyes and ears open.
Yeah.
So that's the first half of the Would You Rather. So prior to this sale of over $6 million, the top three celebrity owned and played guitars were the David Gilmour Black Strat, which sold for about $3.95 million. The Jimi Hendrix 68 Strat, which sold for about $2 million. And the Peter Green / Gary Moore owned 59 Les Paul Standard, which also sold for $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
So the Would You Rather is...
Kurt Hammond owns that now.
Yes. So the Would You Rather is, would you rather have Kurt Cobain's 59 Martin D18 or all three of the other guitars, the David Gilmour Black Strat?
How is this even a contest?
There might be a Nirvana fan out there that says, I've got to have Kurt's guitar.
Yes.
But you just say, all you said was Gilmour, and that already that won it all right there for me.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting. The all three thing is, I mean, that's kind of the easy way to say yes, please. Okay, let's start off with John Esterly. John, what are you going to do?
I think I'm going to choose what I would assume to be the obvious choice there, and that's the other three. We had this discussion at work, actually, right after the guitar sold. And even though that was a pretty important moment in music, I think anybody would agree, Whether you're a Nirvana fan or not, I think the unplugged performance really kind of changed the way that music is presented. And certainly a very, very important guitar, but $6 million is an absolutely absurd amount of money for that. So I think given the choice of that one guitar, which, to be fair, is kind of an odd duck versus the other three, which are all in their own right very legendary guitars, and I think a little bit more, I don't know, more traditionally thought of as quite valuable or quite important. I think that'd be the choice.
That's acceptable. Your reasoning is sound.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Eric, what do you think? We'll let the children bicker.
I have to go with the 3 just because the Gilmore itself, like that guitar is. I mean, I agree that that unplugged was one of the most. I don't think MTV could have ever topped that airing, because that Nirvana unplugged was just just perfect. But I'm going with those other 3 just because of the Gilmore. Like that thing has so much history to it itself. It's more what's been played on that guitar for me.
Yeah,
Because,
I mean, it's not bad for a parts caster.
Yeah, it's not bad for a parts caster. I mean, you just throw them together, held together for a couple of years with some duct tape and a couple of random drilled holes. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I guess who's that? What's that other guy? Eddie Van something. He did something with the parts caster, right?
Exactly.
Yes. Didn't he do something?
I'm pretty sure he did.
I'm pretty sure he did. I don't know if that was Fernandez. It might have been. That might have been a custom. Who knows?
Originally was a Kramer.
It was Kramer, right?
Yep.
Well, from what I always understood, he always hung out over at Grover's repair shop.
Oh yeah.
And he just started, like, I don't want to say stealing stuff, but kind of like just stealing stuff. And then I think that neck was a Kramer. I think he was kind of, hey, look, you don't need that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take the pickup from a ES 355, and hey, look, I'm a god.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. That's nice.
Tony?
Todd, I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm taking Kurt's Martin D18E.
Okay.
That's because I want it. I mean, I think it would be. I mean, I remember watching that on MTV live, and plus I could get to hang out with Peter Friedman, owner of Rode.
Yeah, that's true. You'd be picking it up from him.
Okay, now Todd, I am going to remind you that 2 of these other guitars are indeed Stratocasters.
Yes, I understand that.
So, what is your choice?
This is going to be my response to the Kurt Cobain guitar. I will take only the Gilmore guitar. I will walk away from those other 2 guitars sitting there. I realize one was Jimi Hendrix's guitar, but this is basically saying that's how much I don't want the guitar. Okay.
Somebody just left it outside. It looks all beat up, and I just don't know about it, man.
Yeah,
but I'm with you on that.
It comes with the original case.
That's something.
Yeah.
Well, then.
I think I'm with you on that, Eric, because I mean, just imagine what was created on that Gilmore guitar and played, and like, I mean, arguably maybe the best solo ever.
Oh yeah,
on that one. So, anyways, okay, that was a pretty fun one, Tony.
What do you consider the best solo ever?
From Gilmore? November Rain, all day long.
Huh.
Oh.
Let's see. Are you talking about Division Bell? Yeah, comfortably numb. Okay.
Numb. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
I will agree with you on that.
Show me a better one in history ever. So
I think there was something on the Valentinos album that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. I managed to get one in there. Yes. Thank you, Tony, for the plug. All right. Hey, everybody. We need to thank a few people here. As John Esterly continues to fight the internet. Yeah, there he is.
We have two guests now.
Goodness sakes. All right, Tony.
Yes.
We got some people to thank, like I just said. So we got a lot of them. So let's get to it and
get to it before the system crashes.
That's correct, Mundo.
That's what I'm going to do. So at this point of the show, well, I'm doing double duty today. I had to do the Would You Rather and this very special segment.
Mm-hmm.
We like to thank a very special group of people, our executive producers. Now, somebody out there, John, Eric, maybe, they might be wondering, what is an executive producer? I don't think John knows.
Tony, what's an executive producer?
Oh, it's a very special group of people who participate in Patreon. If you go over to patreon.com/the guitar knobs, you can see a couple of different levels in which you can participate. And each level comes with some really great rewards. Things like, barefoot buttons and stickers and keychains and t-shirts. And there's so many things. It just boggles my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get up to the executive producer level, there is, in addition to all that great stuff, there's a very special thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Jared, what is that?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing.
Ooh.
And that's what I'm going to do right now. So we have a new executive producer, Mr. Richard Kendall. Welcome aboard.
Yes.
Steve Keys, Adam Johnson, James Pennington, Liam Martin, Matt Hart, James White, Brett Alexander, Justin Jones, Doug Gann, Tim Novak, John Esterly. Is that somebody? That name sounds awfully familiar. Chris Heidel, Brad Partridge, Tyler Bray, John Anglin, Anthony Lanthrop, Johnny Knowles, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Brian Robison, Ken Sayers, Michael Van Zant, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Chris Carney, John Daly, Martin Cliff, and Tom Barazin.
Oh, yeah.
But wait.
Uh-huh.
Don't think you're getting away easy. Not today. Because you may have remembered from the beginning of this episode, Todd alluded to something special that happened.
Yes.
We let's just talk about Grand Poobahs for just a second. So a division of our executive producers, the upper echelon, if you will, we call them our Grand Poobahs. And they get to wear a very special fez as being part of the Guitar Knob family and a member of the Grand Poobah clan. So let's start with our newest.
Among a whole bunch of other stuff. Really, that's the extra tier. That's the Excelsior tier of rewards.
You used the word Excelsior twice today.
I like it.
That's a $10 word.
There's your new pedal name there, Eric.
Excelsior!
Seriously, I expect to see it on there.
So let's welcome aboard our newest friend and bestest buddy and Grand Poobah, Mr. Christopher Marshall.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Right on.
You are joined by some other great folks, namely Mark Garton, Tommy Manasco, Sean S. Cody Foster, Cody Lane, David Kaminga, Corey Nigro, Jonathan Jerusek, and that's all.
All right. Thank you so much to all of those fantastic supporters. We truly appreciate everything that you are doing for us, and hope that you appreciate everything that we do for you and all of our other listeners. It means a lot to us, this back and forth of generosity and giving and support. So muchas gracias.
Indeed.
All right. We need to find out a couple more things here. So, Eric, where can people find and buy your stuff?
My main website is fuzzworship.com, but I have a good support of dealers from Cosonic, and then Empire Guitars, Boston Guitar, Accent you shall receive out of Canada. If anybody's above, above the U.S. line, trying to find something not have to worry about shipping too bad. Reverb's a great, a lot of my dealers, will post there, but easiest way is just to follow me on Instagram. I post all my customs and one-offs there as well. And when I update the website, and so I usually try to keep that current. So if anybody's looking for anything, or if anybody has any questions, just find me on Instagram or send me an email through buzzworship.com.
Aha. Excellent. Thank you so much for that.
Excelsior.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's see here. John Esterly, where can people find you?
You can find me at www.rarebuzzer.com, BUZZER, and at rarebuzzer on all the social medias.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
And thank you for your support. Calling you out specifically. You've been a great supporter of the show, and we love having you on and off and on and off and on and off.
Right?
Exactly.
This was a bonding experience, I have to say.
It was.
Yeah. Tony, how about yourself, buddy?
Well, you can go over to excelsior.com.
All right.
Let's just say you need a special pick guard for a special guitar, for a special friend, or a special bandmate. Go over to pickguardian.com, take a look at what I've got available for sale. If you need something custom, 90% of what I do is custom, so shoot me an email. You can click on the link or go to info@pickguardian.com, and just let me know what you need. I will take care of you.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see here.
How about you, Todd?
Well, thank you very much. You can send me an email, todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also DM me on Instagram at guitarknobs. We love getting messages from all you guys and gals and everybody. Share what you're doing. Share what you're digging. Share if you got a complaint with us. We got open ears. We're not above changing. But
send us some would you rathers, or let us know what's on your pedal board,
because we need some.
What was wrong with today?
I only had one dart left. I had to use it.
Hold on to that one.
Anyways, yeah, we really appreciate everybody, and thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you check out Frost Giant Electronics. Get some of those pedals over there. Be on the lookout for his new stuff. Thank you so much, Eric, for hanging in there with us. We had a great time talking with you.
Oh, no, so much. I really appreciate you guys, jumping in and out of this chat with me for a few hours. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the most smoothest interview y'all done, but I appreciate, sticking it out there, and thank y'all for having me on here. It was a blast. Hopefully I didn't sound too much like a fool.
No,
you sounded great. You did a good job.
Nice job. I know that there's a lot of people that are waiting to hear from you, so we appreciate it. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic guitar week and subscribe.
Yes.
Should you use the actual words blah, blah, blah in the description?
Oh, I'm going to have to plug this one in too. Oof.
We're going to go into our next segment.
Screw Frost Giant. Screw everything about them. And I can understand that.
Why don't you clap and then we'll go to the next segment.
Would you switch it for me, sweetheart?
No. Todd, instead of that, just clap and we'll go on to the next segment.
Oh, boy. Well, all right. Bye, Jared. Okay, Tony?
Yes?
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.